Now, Senator Ted Cruz tweeting this in the last hour. He wants a criminal investigation into Twitter, saying they violated sanctions on Iran, and the senator joins us now. Sir, would you elaborate on your case?
Well, absolutely. Good morning, Stu. It's
Morning.
good to be with you. Over a month ago, I sent a letter to Twitter, along with several other senators, asking them to explain why they continue to provide a platform for the Ayatollah Khamenei in direct violation of U.S. sanctions laws. The United States Congress has passed a law making it a criminal offense to facilitate the oppression of the Iranian regime, the leading state sponsor of terrorism in the world. Twitter sent back a letter that essentially said their company policy was to allow as much discussion as possible, and they apparently believe they are exempt from the criminal laws of this country. And so today, I asked the Department of Justice to open an investigation. Those sanction laws are designed to stop U.S. companies from facilitating Iranian terror. And Stu, the irony of this is at the same time that Twitter, that Jack Dorsey is publishing worldwide the anti-Semitic threats of violence from the Ayatollah Khamenei, Jack Dorsey is also trying to censor the President of the United States. He's trying to silence genuine political speech by Americans while facilitating terroristic threats by Iran.
Are you wrapping in your lawsuit, your criminal investigation of Twitter, you're wrapping that into Twitter's fight with the President of the United States? Is it all one thing?
Well, they are separate insofar as the sanctions on Iran are U.S. law passed by Congress, signed by the president, actually signed by Barack Obama. They've been longstanding U.S. law. But the two are related in a couple of ways. One, big tech, the Silicon Valley billionaires, have an arrogance that they don't believe the laws apply to them. They believe that they are the new kings of the universe. And so I sent them the letter asking them to cease and desist violating U.S. law, and they essentially said, pound sand. U.S. companies don't get to ignore American law. At the same time, you can see Twitter, you can see Jack Dorsey getting ticked off at the president. And so initially he put a warning on one tweet, and then last night he got mad that the president was tweeting trying to stop the violence in Minneapolis. And so they're now blocking the president's tweet. I think big tech needs to get the hell out of the censorship business in terms of Americans. The First Amendment protects American speech, and Twitter has no business deciding which politicians they like and which they don't. They should be a neutral public forum and let free speech and the American people decide.
That, sir, is fascinating, because that draws a distinction between us, Americans, and our freedom of speech expressed on this public platform, and foreigners, notably the mullahs, and what they're allowed to say, because that's the first time I've heard that distinction, that difference made clear.
Well, and Stu, the reason that matters is the First Amendment to the Bill of Rights, to our Constitution, protects Americans. It doesn't protect the Ayatollah Khamenei. He has zero protections under the First Amendment. He's not an American. He's not in America. He is a foreign enemy and a terrorist. And so we don't protect his free speech rights. We don't protect the free speech rights of communist China because they're not protected by the First Amendment. Constitution is about protecting Americans' rights. And we are fighting against our enemies that, in the case of the Ayatollah, have killed and are trying to kill Americans and are rabidly anti-Semitic, anti-Israel, anti-American, and Twitter facilitates their terroristic threats nonetheless.
Thank you for being on the program, Mr. Senator, because you've just made something more clear to me than it's been clear in a long, long time. I was confused by this story, but you've made it real clear. Senator Ted Cruz, Republican from the great state of Texas. Thanks for joining us, sir. We appreciate it.